Hey guys, I'm Daniel Sexton. I teach government and world history at Anderson County High School, and this is my take on Google Classroom. So if I'm going to create a new class, simply click on this plus sign, create a new class. I always just title mine government and the year and which semester we're in. Section, I always just do the block, and then I leave these other two blank. Create it always takes a second. So when you want to add your students to this classroom, you click on people at the top, and then I always do this the first day, and I will give the kids this code, and then the kids will actually log into their Google Classroom and enter this code, and then they become part of my class. So if a student is not in class, you can always invite students by simply emailing them, and it'll send a link, and then they can log in from there. But most of the time, the first or second day in class, that's what I always do, is make sure everybody's logged in. That way they know what's going on. I make sure they're in there and everybody in class is on the same page. As far as when you're looking just at Google Classroom, this is where you can add work. In another class I've got on the stream, you can see where it's pretty simple here. These are just old assignments that I have posted. We can click on one of these, but the instructions would be here for the student. They'd be able to click on whatever's here, go in, do the work. If I wanted to see what students have turned it in, then I simply click student work, and I can see every student that they all have been assigned this. And then if they've turned it in, it'll tell me that they've turned it in. You can see that there's 0 turned it in. And so what I simply do is I make them create a folder in their Google Drive, and they can turn all the assignments into Google Drive, so I can create everything in one swoop instead of having to go back and forth between Google Classroom and Skyward. But over here you can see these are all your classes. Go back to this first class. So if I want to add an assignment to this class, I simply go to classwork up here at the top. You can click create, and then it gives you a list of how you want to do it. This would just be a new assignment if you've got a quiz, if you want to pose a question to your students. And then of course, if you've used Google Classroom before, you can do these reuse posts, which is a good thing. I'll go over right here in a minute. But if I was going to do a new assignment, you just come in and title it. For me, I teach government, so this might be Constitution. And so I just simply title it. If you want to add instructions, you can add them right here. And then over here to tell you the point value. If you want to set a due date, you can go ahead and set that. And then you simply can click assign over here. If you want to attach a document, you can always do that. But then you would come back, and this is what the students would see. It's pretty simple for them. They can just go in and click, and they would see the instructions. They would know how to view the assignment. And then again, if I wanted to see that, I can simply click on it, and again, it's not due, so I don't have any students in this class, so there's obviously no one assigned to it or anybody's turned it in, but that's where you could create that. This reuse option's pretty good. I use it a lot because I teach the same thing all semester. I teach 6 different government classes in one semester, so I'm constantly going back in to reuse the same thing. So if I want to reuse a post, I could just come into any of these classes that I've used in the past. So if I wanted to reuse this one, I would just click on that. I click reuse, and it pops it up right here. So I don't have to go back in and recreate the wheel, it's already done. And then I can go over here, I can set a due date again, I can set the point value, which students get it. I can actually click right here and I can assign it to every class I have all at once, instead of having to go back into each individual class and assign it. Again, you can set a due date if you wanted to do that, and then I can simply hit assign, and it'll show up on the student side and my side. Also in assignments, so if I wanted to do a new assignment, say this is, so I go in here and title it just 1, I can come over here on the assign tab and I can actually schedule this out as far as I want to. So I could actually schedule this for sometime in September, and it'll release it at 8 a.m. on September the 16th. So I just click schedule and then I'm done with it. So if you've already got a bunch of assignments created, you can actually go in and set those up all in one day and just schedule them out, and then they'll pop up. That's a really good option if you're going to be out, to where you can go ahead and schedule assignments for your classes the day before you're going to be out of school, and then the sub really doesn't have to do any of that work. You can just, the kids, it'll pop up for them, and you don't have to do anything else, and the sub is there to help them if they need it. But I always use that option if I'm going to be out, just because it's easy for me to go in there and assign it and schedule it out, and then I don't have to leave a bunch of copies or anything for a substitute to hand out. The stream is where everything's going to show up all semester, so anything you assign is going to show up here. It's going to show up in chronological order, so the first thing you assign would be all the way at the bottom by the time the semester ends, and then of course the latest would be at the top. It's all there, so if the students are out, they can go back into Google Classroom and find it. If they're missing assignments, it should be easy for them to go in and find these missing assignments. That's how I use Google Classroom. You know, it's all pretty easy. If you have any questions, there's the Google Classroom help that you can go to. If you have any questions, you could always check that out. Thanks.